Now, you have learned about while loop, which you can use to repeat a code block until some condition is true. And you learned how to use do loop for situations where you want to execute the code block at least one time. Now, it is the best time to learn about for loop. There are two types of for loops, as regular for loop and enhanced for loop. You need the knowledge about arrays to learn enhanced for loop. So let us learn it a little bit later. I will teach you about regular for loop now. I am always trying to teach things as simple as possible to give you a better memory and understanding. My personal experience is always people who are very successful and highly paid in software developing knows and specially remembers the fundamentals 100%. Yes, technology always changes. New frameworks introduced every time. But it's not a problem. If you have installed basics properly into your brain, you can easily learn anything within a shorter period of time. Besides the body of the for loop has three main parts: declaration and initialization, Boolean test, and iteration expression. I am going to code a simple for loop now. Remove these code lines first. Alright. Type for and brackets. Then curly brackets. Now, within the brackets, type int a equals 5. This is the initialization part. We have declared an int variable called a, and assigned the value 5 to it. Next thing is the Boolean test. Let us type a less than 20. Here, I am checking whether this value of a is less than 20. This loop will run until a remain less than 20. If the value of a is equal or greater than 20, this loop will not run. And here is the iteration part. Type a plus plus. With each repetition of the loop, the value of the variable a will increase by 1. Now, inside the loop body, I am including a system.out.println statement. Let us type, within quotes, value of the a variable is plus a. Maybe you are thinking, why we always use this statement? We are just doing that to demonstrate some code lines execute in that place. In a real-world app, we don't have a lot of system.out.println lines. Instead, we will have database queries, viewing something on a window, or code to execute some algorithm. Alright. Let us run the code to see the output. It is a nice output, isn't it? The code block of for loop has executed 15 times before the value of a reached 20. What if I change a to 20 and set 5 here? Now let us use the decrement operator. Minus minus, this time. If you run this code, you will get no result. Why is that? Here, in this code, the variable a, holding the value of 20 at the beginning. It is not less than 5. It is greater than 5. Therefore, the Boolean test gives false at the first time. So, the code block will never execute at least one time. If we want to run this code, we should change this less than mark to greater than. Let us change it, and check the result. Very good, this time we got a result. Let me explain you what is going on here for one last time. It starts here. First, a new variable a is set up and given an initial value of 20. Before start, the first repetition of the loop, the JVM checks that the condition is met, it is true, in this case. So, decided to start executing the loop code block. After completing the execution, JVM perform the update action. Here, the value will decrease by 1. Then, the JVM, consider the loop condition again. If it is true, executes the code block, again. This cycle repeats, until the value of the variable a, reached to 5. Then, loop condition gives false. Therefore, loop execution will over. Alright. I hope you learned a lot, and enjoyed the lesson as well. Please practice more. Play with your own examples. And always, ask more questions from me.